What did the pandemic ruin more than we realize? This might just be local, but where I live, a shit ton of businesses closed. I mean, half of them were closed. Not just because of the shutdown, they were closed permanently. Young people's desire to go into healthcare. We won't realize it for a generation or so, but healthcare in America was already chronically understaffed. The pandemic burning out medical professionals and discouraging young people from going into healthcare is going to have a negative effect on the quality of healthcare, not only in the United States, but other hard-hit countries, too. My social work life, after living like a hermit for 2 years and working from home, it's taking me a long time to go out like before. Time perception 2019 was 3 soon to be 4 years ago. Edit, thank you for all the likes and award. This is the most karma I've gotten on Reddit, so kind of kicking myself for not using my main account, lol. Feels like it's more to each their own sense of living. People don't appear to be as connected as before the pandemic. Essential versus non-essential employees, better known as those who had to show up physically in person, and those allowed to stay home. Biggest division in the workplace. Mentally it will never be the same in the workplace. It ruined me on traffic, for one glorious year. As an essential worker I had the roads almost entirely to myself. It was beautiful. The lockdowns happened during my last semester of university. I've never had an in-person job, only worked from home, which I realize is a blessing but also makes it feel like it's not real. I have no work friends, have never met my supervisor in person, I do all my work from my desk in my room. It feels like pretend. I'm not sure if anyone else feels the same way, but my perception of time hasn't really returned back to normal since then. My perception on money. I worked so hard to pay off debt, save up for a new house, get promotions. Now with the rise of housing costs and inflation I feel like money is literally such a made-up thing and I have no control over anything even with all the right decisions. Children's education, mental health, coping skills, and socialization. My wife is an elementary educator, and it's shocking how far kids regressed during the pandemic. By almost every measure, this generation of kids is in big trouble. I'm optimistic that the trend will right itself over time, but it's really sad to see. Grocery shopping at 2:00 a.m. was the best thing ever. Now I have to shop with the rest of you hooligans and it fucking sucks. Supply chain. Just-in-time ordering was a bad idea to begin with, but trying to adapt to the new normal when you are used to full shelves to choose from is almost worse. People talk about test scores in core subjects, but an even bigger impact are areas that couldn't be done online. Kids at the age where you start an instrument, theater kids, visual arts, and sports all suffered from kids at a certain age either losing interest or not getting proper fundamentals. The 8th grade band shouldn't sound like the 6th grade band at the year-end concert. I feel like everyone is more bitter now. Like we all saw through the Shamo Society. Time feels different now. Things just feel off compared to pre-2020. Everything just feels off, people are rude, no parties or overnight hangouts, most people nowadays keep themselves busy on their phones and TikTok. My mental health also took a hit. The time before 2020 feels like a colorful fantasy while the present one feels like a dystopian world. Niche retail. There was this cool place that sold vintage Chanel, Hermes, 70s pieces. They needed the exploratory foot traffic to survive. COVID killed him. For people who worked from home and flourished, coming back to the office for reasons essentially killed your respect for your boss and company culture in general. If I was producing just as well in PJs, why do I need to get dressed in a button-up, drive 40 minutes to do the same shit? Family relations. Vax versus anti-vax, mask versus no mask, COVID deniers versus lockdown advocates. Fractured a lot of my family and many others. When you combine social media with a global pandemic, it forced all of us to realize people don't suffer equally. In the age before social media, we could rely on tradition or culture to justify sacrificing to come together. Nowadays we must be guarded to not be exploited. Trust. I don't trust anyone anymore. I learned that people are even dumber than my cynical brain ever imagined. Children's education, attitude, and manners. As a teacher, there is definitely a noticeable difference after COVID in these things. The attitudes and blatant disrespect is unbelievable. I don't take any of it personally so it doesn't wear on me so much, but I can absolutely see why some teachers are burned out because of it. Food delivery. Fees on fees and the menu prices are more expensive in the apps. Yes, it's a convenience and you are paying for it, but damn it's expensive. Then you play the tipping roulette game. Leave a good tip and your order still might be late, wrong, missing items, etc. Want a tip after you get your food, so you don't leave a tip beforehand? You ain't getting your food. Everyone's just so angry, and far too many people seem to delight in finding ways they can be obnoxious to others. I understand, even if disagree, with people who found lockdown annoying. I simply can't comprehend what drove so many people to performatively and aggressively cough over everyone they met, to either try, or look like they were trying, to infect them with a deadly disease. It pushed people away from social gatherings with friends and family and mostly replaced that with screen time. It fucked us up socially. We are more alone than ever. In the USA, decency. I mean, folks were being fairly horrible to each other before 2019, but a few months of having to live with themselves has brought out new levels of crazy. It's like folks have forgotten how to act in public and around each other. The supply chain is still fucked 6 ways from Sunday, with no sign of returning to normal anytime in the near future. Printed menus. Call me snarky, but scrolling through your phone at dinner, whether with family or on a date, is shitty. People's life plans. We lost almost 2 years of our lives. I should have been in a much different place by now, but COVID ruined my opportunities and now I feel like I'm behind 2 years. People's ability to drive. Drivers are far more aggressive post-COVID, and even fewer people are using their signals. Empathy. Most people no longer have it, or they finally stopped pretending. Being in crowds now gives more anxiety for me at least. ETA wow, thank you so much for the award. We have become more addicted to social media. Most of us gained weight during the lockdowns. And lastly, divorces have increased. People realized sharing the same house with someone they love is good, but sharing every single second is not. Elevator buttons. The overuse of cleaning agents have compromised the plastics that hold the buttons in place. As an elevator service manager, I have seen button replacement go up by at least 400. People's well-being. Well, definitely mine. The feeling of dread at the beginning of the global pandemic has never really left me. Worker-employee relationships. A lot of people woke up to how shitty a deal we have it in the United States. Wealthiest country in the world. No guaranteed sick leave, no paternal-maternal leave. We gave big business bailouts and they still raised prices and fired workers. The belief that Americans are able to come together in a crisis and be willing to make sacrifices for the greater good. We'll never trust each other again. Mental health. The new standard is being on meds for something. Restaurants in NYC closing at 10 p.m. RIP city that never sleeps. My financials. Pre-pandemic, it was tight, but every few months or so I got some fun money. Now it is week to week. I may never recover. Our entire social construct. It's apparent that the rich got richer and the average person just can't keep up. There needs to be some sort of reckoning with corporations and the super wealthy. People's physical appearance. Everyone on TV looks really, visibly older than in 2020. I swear soon people have aged 10 years and ruined my entire high school experience, graduation, grad night, prom, homecoming, senior year, etc. So whatever category that falls under, I found people aren't as caring and friendly towards each other anymore. I suppose social distancing and issues of who's vaccinated and who's not has taken its toll. Common decency. People don't remember how to treat other people, have tact, or empathy, or even understand the concept that other people are actually real. The level of entitled rudeness is amazing. Everyone is at a 12 on the rage meter and absolutely can't wait to throw a tantrum that would embarrass a 3-year-old at the smallest provocation. Sad time to be human.